It's Lori from Lori's Little Bit of Craftin, coming to you at 11:36 p.m. on Sunday, September 7th, from Wisconsin here in the United States. So let me get my devices connected here. Make sure I have sound. I do. Got my wireless mic on again, so I just charged it. Hopefully everything will go smoothly with that. This is the new catalog, our mini September to December. So it'll run actually till January 5th as supplies last. I'm waiting for my computer to catch up with me also. That's a little delayed. But last night we were working with the new Happy Place stamp that's on page 60 of the new catalog. Now this is a nice scrapbook layout that I think is really fun. And I may have to use this when my husband and I take our trip near the end of winter, early spring. But I'm going to do something kind of similar to this tonight. And I'll show you the cards we did last night. So we've got, and I think I finished them all. I did all of the in colors from last year. So we've got Peach Pie, and this is Summer Splash. Hello, Bonnie. Welcome. Hopefully I won't put you to sleep tonight. Petunia Pop, right? Pretty in Pink and Shy Shamrock. All right, so these are all of the ones we finished yesterday, or actually earlier this morning. This one, I actually did the back layer with the stamp just like this, but then I fussy cut another set and I did them kind of haphazard on there. So I thought that was kind of fun. And I didn't finish all the insides, I guess. I shouldn't say that I finished them all. I don't think I did the insides for any of them, but I will. That'll be easy. But I think this one might be my favorite. Linda, welcome. You're awake. All right. So let's just, I kind of like to put them in the order that the in colors are on my shelves. Busy. Yes, this was from yesterday. I just came on. So these are the ones from yesterday. And this is all with the Happy Place. So I did one that said Happy Times, Happy Days, Happy Life. There should be a stamp on here, Happy Wife. Happy Wife, Happy Life. That would be fun. Happy Birthday, and then Happy for You. This one might be turned into a retirement card for somebody. I don't know. But we are going to do just another card. I think last night when Fifi was on, and Bonnie, I don't know if you were on here when she was, but she had suggested, well, let me back up just a second, because Linda, you weren't here last night, but we use the baby wipe technique for this. And my baby wipes actually had been dry, so I wet them a little bit, and they might have gotten too wet. I don't know. So some of these smeared a little bit more, but it'll be fine. I think they look fine. So I thought tonight, I think it was Fifi that suggested just stamping it like in black and like the memento and going from there. So I thought I would do that. And then I was playing with this a little bit earlier. So this is Cloud Cover. And I use the Cloud Cover ink pad that demonstrators can get. Thank you, Linda. Because we can get the full size ink pad. Customers can't. You have to get the re-inker and an ink spot to do yours. So you've been working with Santa's delivery bundle all weekend. You're making Christmas cards. Yeah, I thought you had said something about that yesterday, that you were doing Christmas cards, because last year you got behind on them maybe. I was rereading through some of the comments because I miss a lot when I'm crafting and I don't always get to keep up. But anyway, I use my blending brush to add some color to this. So this is actually the same sheet of this In Color designer series paper. And I discovered um, that I really wanted to use the different piece that, let me pull these out of here and see if I can find it. I spilled them all actually. I actually wanted to have this piece, but I discovered that I don't have any of that one left. So, yeah, I don't craft a whole lot for Halloween either, or I didn't, but I do a little bit more now because of my granddaughter and my bonus grandson. So, anyway, lost my train of thought. I wanted it to be more like that piece, more like this, but in the cloud cover. So I thought I would blend that, and then I just splattered it with water to get some of the galactic looking stuff on there, but I don't know if I like it or not. So we're going to go ahead and just start with this, and we'll see what color combo we want. So I've got this scored at 5.5, and I cut it at 4.25 because I want it like a hot dog, because that's how these are. So these are what I would call landscape as opposed to portrait. But I like mine to open sideways, so if somebody wants to display them, they don't flatten out. All right. So what I'm going to do is I have my piece of basic white, which is 3 by 5.5. All right. And we are going to stamp the happy, but we're going to use Secret C. And let me straighten this out just a little bit more maybe, so you can get more of my workspace and less of my camera stand. All right, so we're going to go ahead and just do this in Secret C. And we're going to try to get it straight and centered. All right. So I really like this. And I think it was Fifi that suggested just doing it in a single color. And that just really makes it stand out. But I wasn't quite satisfied with that. So I'm going to colorize it. So we're going to just start. I want to get this out of here because I don't want to have it leak on here. I'm just going to start adding some color. Now this is light cloud cover. So I'm going to add a little bit of that to some of the water. And then I have light balmy blue. So I'm going to add some more to the water so that we've got the blue tint on there. And we're going to color all of these letters. So I hope Fifi pops on, because I'm pretty sure it was her suggestion to just stamp it and color it. So Bonnie, you said you've been working on Christmas stuff. Linda, did you get your nap in today? I never did sit down and put my feet up. And I'm just going really light with this because I want to control the color, but I don't want to use a bullet point. All right, so now I think what I'm going to do is I've got peach pie or pumpkin pie. I'm going to use a light pumpkin pie, and we're going to kind of create some sunset here and some gorgeous colors. And I'm just being kind of random here, but I don't want to scribble just all over the whole thing. because I want to blend some other colors. And I think we'll use light pretty and pink. We had a pretty spectacular sunset, I think yesterday. It's really pretty. We had a lot of pinks and some orange tones. So I'm just kind of in my head copying that a little bit. Hello, Nicole. Welcome. We are just getting started with the Happy Place stamp. You've not been on for a few days, but we did a bunch of these yesterday and this morning when I finished. Well, for us, it's not quite midnight here, my time. But we did them in all of last year's in colors. So we use the baby wipe technique. And here's just a couple of them. I won't go through all of them. You can check out the replay. But I did all of the in colors, last year's in colors. So today I thought I would do Secret Sea with some cloud cover. And I guess the only in color I have really is the Darling Duckling. But we stamped this in Secret Sea now, and I am just kind of colorizing it because that, I believe, is what was suggested yesterday. So my computer hasn't caught up with me yet, so I can see on my iPad, but it's harder for me to type anything on there when I eventually want to type anything. So you can kind of see how this is coming along. I think it looks pretty slick. And I never considered myself really much of an artist. I mean, kind of crafty. You know, my mom was always a crafter, even when I was a kid. She always had some craft of the month kit coming. There's a couple little white spots there I'm just going to fill in. And let's see, I'm going to do light balmy blue up here, I think, for the rest of the sky, maybe. And I'm not going to do anything with the palm trees because I figure if it's like sunset, the trees are going to be dark. Is anybody crafting? Not necessarily the same project I am, but are you crafting while you watch or listen? I know there's a couple of gals that are on here and they'll craft while we're working whatever projects I've got going. Doesn't that look cool? And then I'm just going to go back over with some more of the Darling Duckling and blend this a little bit more. You can blend when it's wet, but otherwise you're just going to shade if it's dry. Hopefully I'm not ruining that. All right, and then I see a couple of spots where I went past the line. So I'm going to take, okay, that's dangerous, Bonnie. So I'm going to take the color lifter, which is actually more of a color pusher, and I'm going to push those little pieces. You might not even have been able to see them, but I'm just going to push them towards the design. Oh, there's a little bit over here too where I just went over the line a little bit. And all that does is it displaces some of that color with some new alcohol, and then it'll dry clear. So I'm just kind of dabbing it on there, kind of pushing in the direction that I want it to go, and that'll be good. All right. Oh, a shaker birthday card, Lynn. That's fun. I almost made a shaker card out of one of our autumn cards. I wonder. I still am trying to get my computer to catch up with the live. And I don't know, maybe it's how I have it. I might be logged in different. Who knows? There we go. There we go. All right, so that's going to go there. So now we have to decide if we're going to use the light cloud cover, the colored in cloud cover, because that does kind of match the sky. Let's do a little bit more with the sky. So you've got work in the morning. Oh yeah, because it's Monday. And what time is it for you, Bonnie? Just going to add a little bit more blue in here with the cloud cover. The one on top. So this one, the shaded one, the light one, or the dark one? Because what I'm going to do, oh, so it's 11:52. All right, so you're my same time zone. Awesome. All righty, so we're thinking this one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little paper tearing. So we're not even going to see probably where I did the water dribbles, but I thought I would put this on here and kind of curl the edges. Now I didn't trim it yet. Obviously I need to do that. So I had read about the lunar eclipse that we actually have the corn moon or something. And if you're in North America or South America, that we can't even see it. So I didn't even try to look. Yeah, we won't be able to see it here in Wisconsin. All right, so let's tear a little bit more off of here, and then I'll trim down this side, and we will be able to see those water bubbles on there. This will kind of be the sky, and this will kind of be the water. So let me trim this down, probably about 3/4 of an inch maybe. I'm just guessing. And I'm gonna take it to 5.5. And I don't know if you can see all of that or not. And then we'll take this one over to 5.5. And then I'm just going to roll these edges a little bit, kind of curl them just to give it a little lift here. So that will go there. This will go here, and I'll roll these back a little bit too. So Nicole, I'm sorry that you had rain by you and that you didn't get to see it. I've been trying to look for opportunities to see the northern lights by us. All right, so what do you think? Do you like that? Or should I tear the Secret Sea one? Sala, welcome. And I think Linda's still with us too. So I'm just going to tear this one just because I kind of want to see how it looks. And I'll need to trim it down to 5.5 also. I'm still getting used to having my screen zoomed in a little bit. Because you gals said that it helped to have it zoomed in a little bit. So I'm trying to get it, pardon my reach. We'll have to see how that is. All right, sorry if I'm making anybody dizzy. All right, so here would be the other option, which actually I think that makes the water stand out a little bit more. So let me trim these down and we'll get a better look at it. So that's with the cloud cover with some ink blending on it. So that's contrast to how it came. So let's do this one 5.5. And try these on here again. All right. I'm going to try to curl these too. Yeah, once I put the darker one on there, I think that really made those letters stand out even more. And the cloud cover one, I mean, the light one, it's more dark. There's more dark in that lake because of the Secret Sea, because that's what I stamped it on. Fifi, I think we're trying your suggestion. I think you suggested this during my last video to stamp this in a single color and then color it in. So instead of the baby wipe technique, I took your suggestion and we're just playing with some other colors. You know, I could actually put both of them on there, huh? We could compromise and do them both. What do you think of that? Both layers, the lighter layer or the darker layer? What do you think? Looking for some suggestions. Let's see without again. So you want just the ink blended cloud cover. All right. And here is just the darker. And then here is both. So I could trim these down so we could still see quite a bit of the Secret Sea at the top and the bottom. Or we could just do a single layer. I'm almost to the point where I just want to use up all of my DSP because I don't have much of this left. I've got just a handful of, I've got lots of little scraps. So here is the one that I was playing with. So that's why I knew what colors I wanted to work with. And in fact, I see a couple little spots here that didn't get colored in. Oh, in here too. It's probably too busy yapping. All right, so now what I did with this one too is I put some foam adhesive strips under here to boost it up. But I don't know if that really needs it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue this on. And I discovered that I'm almost out of that cloud cover. Who knew? I didn't think I had used that much, but apparently I did. Just like the timid tiger. There's no timid tiger left. I think timid tiger, I have just a couple of little scraps. Look at those. That's all I have left of my timid tiger. Just a couple of little itty bitty pieces. But I have no full sheets left. So that's all I have for full sheets. Just the cloud cover in that foliage design, the Secret Sea, and then one piece of the Darling Duckling. Alrighty. Alrighty, so we're gonna do this one. So do I need the foam pieces under here, do you think? Zoom it in more. I could try. I'm trying. How's that? Is that okay? I have to wait for my iPad to catch up with me. I think that's probably okay, huh? So I did, excuse me, the foam adhesive strip. So I glued it here and I put a foam adhesive strip on the torn edges. So should I just leave the torn part kind of loose, or should I put it up on the foam? Maybe I'll just do it plain. Just leave it flatter. And I'm not planning on doing any blending brushes, but I do have my necklace tucked in just in case. So it won't interfere with my microphone, my wireless mic. Because I wasn't sure if I grabbed all of the things that I'll need for what's going through my head. I think I have most everything. I did start putzing with this a little bit earlier, just kind of flitzing through stuff. So thank you for all the hearts. I thought I saw something else popping up there too. I'm going to scooch that down a little bit. All right. And then for these dots, I used the neutral matte dots, and then I just colored. I didn't have any more of the white ones. Oh, I do have white ones, but those are bigger. I didn't have any of the white ones in little. So I used the Secret Sea, the light Secret Sea, and I just colored a few of these and then give them a second coat. And let them dry a little bit. I guess I'll give them a third coat. They look almost like the black, but they're not. Yeah, the floral side could have been fun too. But I thought with the design of this that it would have been too busy. And I didn't want to take away from the happy because I really like the happy. Yes, and that's why sometimes I do some fun folds that you actually get to see both sides of the designer series paper. Whoops, I don't want to take a black one. All right. And I'm putting 2 on that side because there's a little bit more space there I didn't have it quite centered. So I can put these away. I looked for these earlier and they were still available too. So if you like the matte dots, they come in white, black, basic beige, and pecan pie. I think that's pecan pie. It doesn't list the colors on here. So it's either pecan, or pecan. Thank you, Fifi. So I think you were the one that suggested to just stamp it and then color it. So I really liked how it turned out with just that. So yeah, you just have to use your paper because there's always going to be another set of pretty paper that you're really going to like. So let me clean up these pieces. Now this, for the inside, we're going to put this here. And we could, I think I'm going to tear again. Let's see, because I don't have, I think this is the last piece I have of this too. Because these, yeah, these have the different pattern on them. So I'm just going to cut this straight-ish, hopefully. And then I'll tear that as well. And we'll do the inside. I didn't get that quite trimmed all the way. We'll see how this turns out. I might have to find somebody else who has this paper and get one more sheet from them. All right. Yeah, it just kind of makes it look more beachy-ish to me. All right, so we're going to go over here with this one. And that will go there. I'll have to trim that down. I forgot about that. And then I'm just going to rip a little bit off of here. Juju, welcome. We're just doing one more card version from what we were working on last night with the Happy Place stamp. All right, let's take this to 5.5. I probably should have done that before I ripped them apart. It would have been easier. I would have only had to have cut once. All right. So here I'm going to say happy for you, and that's going to go right in the middle. All right. And then I'm going to have to trim this a little bit too because it's going to be just a little long with that burnished and there, or the fold there. So let's just take a smidge off of here. Let's see if that's enough. Now, when I'm doing a really narrow bit like that, I usually take my scoring blade and drop it in the middle so that I can pierce it, and then I go up and down with it. And I really need to clean that out. So that's good. It won't sit on the fold then. You ladies are great. So if Robert should happen to show up again, we'll just ignore him because I think he's trying to sell something else. So I couldn't find any connection really to any crafting that we do, so I'm not sure why he's popping into my page, but it's my page, not his, so I can kick him off if I want. Yeah, I think everybody's having a pretty good, oh, I guess I should have trimmed that down a little bit further too. I think everybody's having a pretty good Sunday. How's yours been? Yeah, maybe, Fifi. But if I see him pop up, I'm gonna um like hide his comments or something. That's funny that you have songs in your head there. All right. So that looks pretty straight, and I just got a little blop of glue there. So I'll just use my little eraser and nobody will ever know it was there. And now I just need to trim these couple of pieces here. Oh, it's Father's Day in Australia, huh? Well, happy Father's Day to all the Australian fathers. Our Father's Day is in June, middle of June. I think I want just a little bit more off of here. There we go. All right, there we go. So here's our cards from last night. And then here's what I did for today. And I'm just going to leave these as happy on the front because I've got the inside. And this one I've got retirement. So happy retirement. All right, let's go to the next thing. Thank you, Fifi. Those were fun. I liked coloring with the Stampin' Blends. I think it turned out really good. And then I'll probably still play with them, like using the daubers on the red rubber and see how that turns out. And then too, maybe instead of like Secret Sea, I'll just try it in different individual colors too, you know, Petunia Pop or whatever, just to see how it looks. All right, let's move some of this stuff out of the way. I'm done with all of these markers. So we'll make room for some other things. So this is Beachy, and I love Beachy, but I'm going to go back to Autumn stuff again. And I'm going to mix a couple of things up a little bit. And your dark heart likes today's versions. I really like the contrast too. I think the Secret Sea really brought out the colors of the Stampin' Blends. It just makes them look all that much more vibrant. I mean, even this one did, but that's got the different paper for the cloud cover. And I had more of the lighter cloud cover in there, where here I use the darker. But either way, I think it looks very fun. All right. I think I'm going to reset here now. think we're ready. All right, so we'll see how much of a mess I have here. I'm going to move these out of the way. They're so pretty, but I'm going to have to move them a little bit here. All right. Well, Fifi did send out the email today with particulars for her Make It Monday. All right. I am not sure if I'm going to use these little cattail pieces, but I really like these frame dies from this branching out set. And this is the Timeless Plaid paper. This now is an online exclusive, I'm pretty certain. I don't think it's in the mini catalog. Paper. Yeah, the Timeless Plaid, it's got to just be an online exclusive. And when I looked earlier today, it was still available. So I think I might use this sentiment. I have it ready, but we'll see. And then I brought in some blends. I die cut that already, so I don't think I need this anymore. Let me get that out of the way. I tried to prep some of my things, and now I'm wondering where all of my... There they are. Nope. Here. Ooh, here's the rest of it. I'm like, what am I missing? All right, so this is the Amber Autumn. I love these oak leaves and the acorns. And then the Autumn Trees, I ended up not using anything of that for this one. But I did want to use some of this paper. This is the textured metallic 12 by 12 paper. It is really pretty. And so what I did with these dies is, well, let me back up. With the Timeless Plaid, I looked through and saw which ones I really liked. Excuse me. Of the plaids. And I really liked the one that had the Cajun craze in it. So here's the piece with the Cajun craze. And I know metallics are so fun. I used, let me pull these out so I can show you which dies I actually used. I used the biggest one for my plaid piece. All right. And then I used, this is my Cajun Craze card base, so 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4.25, of course. Well, I shouldn't say of course, but that's standard for us here in the United States. All right, so let's go ahead and get that flattened out. And then I took a piece of the Cajun Craze two-tone cardstock. So the dark side is the true color, but I wanted the light side. And then I just played with it because I figured, well, if I didn't like it, it's going to be covered up. So do you think that I should distress the plaid? So here it would be with just the shades of Cajun Craze, not distressed at all. Or I could distress these edges a little bit with some sandpaper. What do you think? I feel like I should have like some Jeopardy countdown music or something. All right, so you don't think there's enough of the border on there for the distressing to show. So there's a little bit here. And the reason why I consider distressing it is because some of the paper, because this is thinner, when I ran it through the embossing folder, and you may not be able to see that, but you can see where it split the papers a little bit. Well, I can always cut another piece. Let's just go ahead and do some of this. All right. So now you can actually see quite a bit of that core coming through. All right. And then I cut out this one, the frame, and I saved the center. So this is the biggest die here, and then I used the next one in line and not the next one, but I skipped one. All right. So for this frame with the metallic, I skipped a size in between. Okay. And I cut it all at once. So I put this on and then I put this on, ran it through my embossing machine together. And I just did my best to make sure that they were straight. And I think they turned out pretty good. Now this card is actually going to go pretty quick because we're not going to do a whole lot to it because we have our leftover piece here from a couple of nights ago. And I thought what I would do, I was thinking about putting it in here and lifting up this frame and having it look like it was art, I guess, because it's not like you're looking out of a window. So the plaid almost looks like vellum. Oh yeah, you're right, it does. I hadn't even noticed that. Good eye. So when I was playing with this, I thought, yeah, I'm not sure, but I did like the pumpkin piece on the outside lifted up, and then I am going to stamp right on my paper. It's going to be risky, but I'm going to do it. I figure I can always I have more of this paper. All right. So, um, yes, the frame is going to go up. So may as well just do that now. And I'm going to use my foam adhesive strips. I love these. They're great for shaker cards. They're great for frames like this. It's just so much easier than using dimensionals. So we're going to do it. All right. Then that's actually a little long for that side. So let's get this. And you get, I think, 3 sheets of these, 2 or 3 sheets. Well, there's 40 strips altogether. So you must get 2 sheets. All right. So here I'm just eyeballing where I need this. And I'm just going to cut 2 of these here. Yeah, well, and see, that's why I cut out the little cattail pieces, because I thought if I had the pumpkin here, I could put a couple little cattail pieces behind here. And I didn't like how that looked. And I don't think there's a stamp there's not a stamp for the cattail. And I thought that looked kind of silly. So I'm scrapping that idea. I didn't like it. And I even tried it in basic beige, but that just accentuated how different those colors were. Yeah, I think it'll look good on the frame. So anyway, I'm not going to use those pieces. So let's go ahead and finish putting these strips on the frame. And I was thinking this could have made a good shaker card too, but I would have had to have used some old elements that I have because the other kind of sequins and stuff that I have aren't the same color as this frame. And I really like the frame. And we're just going to cut another little piece here, I think. All right, so that's ready. Now, the other thing that I don't know if you can see it or not, but this is on Very Vanilla, and then we colored it. And I thought, this is basic beige in here, not Very Vanilla. So I have my blending brush with basic beige, which actually has kind of a greenish tint to it. And there's still some ink on it from the last time I used it, so I did not re-ink it. But I think it's just enough to color those edges and make them look basic beige instead of very vanilla. And I'm just being careful not to go in on the pumpkin. I'm just putting the pressure like right on the edges there. And I like that better. You might not be able to tell, but it shows here. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this on to try the whiskers on the cattail pieces. Oh yeah, we could do that. We'll see. I'm just curling these corners in a little bit just to make them look even more distressed. Now I could rough up the edges of that designer series paper too, but I don't really know that. I mean, this is stitched here, so I don't want it looking too ragged, but what do you think? Should I rough up the edges with my snips or just leave it? The whiskers though, I like that. I still don't know if that, I wish there was a stamp to go with those because I'm not quite happy with them because these are stamped and then these are not. Yeah, Fifi. Whiskers, cattails, whatever. All right, I think I'm gonna just rough up a little bit. Just so it looks like it's supposed to be distressed and not that I did a crummy job embossing it. So try them on top of the frame behind the pumpkin on the right. I will do that before we glue. All right, so now I've got just a little bit of whiteness around the edge. So I think I like that better. All right, so let's do some glue. And again, this is a two-tone cardstock, so I'm doing it with the lighter side up. And I like using my leftover pieces. I really liked how those pumpkins colored up. So it'd be a shame to not use them somewhere. And if I don't use them sooner rather than later, I will probably misplace them. Even though I try to put things like that inside either the die case or the stamp case. There we go. I think we might have lost my other friend, Linda. She hasn't chatted for quite a bit, so I might have put her to sleep too. And then this I'm just going to glue on. The frame might be too thin for what you're thinking. Oops, I didn't want to do that. Let me get my silicone pad. because whoops, I'm going to have an avalanche here in a minute. I need to stamp on this. So since I already started gluing, I'm just going to put that right on there and we'll be fine. All right, so where did my stamp go? Here it is. And I should have Cajun Craze somewhere. I thought I brought it over. Yes, it's here somewhere. Oh, here we go. Alrighty. Oh, okay. I missed that part. All right, so wish me well. I'm going to stamp right on here, and I need to figure out with my frame and with my pumpkins, it's going to have to go up near the top. So it's going to go right about here. Oh, hopefully that's straight. Fingers crossed, that's right. Oh my goodness, look at that. It's like right on the line. Nice. Thanks for crossing your fingers. Phew. All right. So now I can finish putting glue on this. And I'll let my silicone mat just dry and then I'll rub that stuff off. I don't like to try to use water to get the glue off of my silicone mat because it just seems to leave a residue. But if I let it dry and then just rub it off, it comes right off. Cajun Craze is one of those colors that I really like too. And this is almost like Old Olive in here, or a dark basic beige. I'm not really sure. The crowd roars. Woohoo! Love it. See, if I had Zoom coming through here, you guys could like clap, right? All right, so let's put our little frame on here. And hopefully that's still pretty well centered. I think that worked out pretty good. Whew. And then this will go here. Now we wanted these. Let me see about making those a little darker and just see what they look like. Hopefully I won't rip them. I don't really want to re-ink that because I just want it to be a subtle color shift. You guys are great. It's the little things in life, right? All right, so this will come here. Now, are you saying these would go over here? I just wonder if maybe I brush those in early espresso. I might like them better. Let me go get that blending brush. I have a little bit of an obstacle course in here. My crafting table, because I stand when I craft, and my crafting table kind of separates the room. So when I have, no way, look at what I did, you guys. All right, here's how we're going to fix that. Figures. Everything was going so well, but here's how we're going to fix it. This is already lifted up. I am just going to cut this because I'm going to have to cut it by hand. That's all right. I'm going to cut it just inside that score line. And I'm just going to put it on another base because there's no way I can remove that stuff even if I use like my heat gun. It just won't work. So it's just going to have an extra layer, that's all. It's kind of funny. I just happened to see it flipping around there. It's like, oh, that's backwards. And I probably could have just ignored it and you guys would not have even known that I messed up. But I mean, that's part of the entertainment value, right? Let me put these away because I am done with these. All right, so let me go get another Cajun Craze base. Unless, nah, we'll get Cajun Craze again because I was thinking I could get like basic beige, but Cajun Craze will work. That's funny. Somebody told me one time they give cards like that to their left-handed friends because they like them to open the other way. And I'm like, I'm left-handed and I do not open my cards that way. All right, so let's do a 4 1/4 score. Sorry for the interruption to your viewing pleasure here. All right, no big deal. And we were doing so well. It's all good. So this will just go right on here and nobody will be the wiser. It'll be our little secret. It'll be like Vegas. What happens on Lori's Little Bit of Craftin stays in Lori's Little Bit of Craftin when it's like this for the whole world to see. Well, quite honestly, it's not the first time I've done that. It does not happen very often, but every once in a while, I'm just not paying attention. But look, no harm, no foul, right? And you can hardly even tell it's another layer on there. It's fine. It's fine. It's just a little crooked. So I'll just trim this one little corner too. They'll know it's a handmade card. There we go. Nobody will be any the wiser. All right, and this I can use for something else. I'll just put it in my stash of cardstock pieces. All right, so where were we? We were doing early espresso. Yeah, whatever. It happens. Now, if I was making it for something that I needed in half an hour, I might have a little meltdown, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But I am trying to get some of this stuff cleared away. I had my studio space cleaned up today for a team meeting, and it's always so nice when things are straightened up. But then, you know, you start doing a couple of projects, and before you know it, you have a pile that's ready for an avalanche. So let's see what these look like if I do a little bit of, so I don't know if I should do blending brushes or if I should do blends. Let's just see. I'm just trying to go light on here. Whoops. Yeah, got a little darker, but that'll be tucked in. I don't think we'll see that. And I'm changing my skin tone. I'm usually very pale. I guess I can't do the circles here. Just gonna do brush strokes. Okay. I'll try to get some of that early espresso off there. And the card went over here. Let's get this out of the way too. So has everybody been thinking about how they're going to store their things from Stampin' Up now that the package sizes are changing? I have some of these plastic bins that I keep some of my things in already. So I'm just going to do more of the same. It'll save me a lot of space actually. And I can't, quite honestly, I can't see these little images anyway. Yeah, Stampin' Storage will probably come up with something, I'm sure. But now, I have the ink storage that has the blends, the marker, and the ink slots. So now I'm going to have these marker slots that I'm not going to need once I'm done with those markers. If they do another like color refresh or something, but it'll be all right. All right, so this is going to go here. So I think those look better with the early espresso. What do you think? So you like them on the right-hand side? Hey, if it works for you, throw them in a bin. I usually keep my things in alphabetical order because it helps me when I try not to order double. Now, if I turn that one backwards, what do you think? What do you think of that? Do we want those on there or not? I could have brought this down a little bit, but I'll put a couple of embellishments there. Ah, you need 20 bins. Well, I'm going to start with just enough bins for my new stuff. And then as things retire, I try to purge them anyway. I hang on to the ones that I really, really like. And then I sell the other things that I figure um, I'm not going to use. Because if I use them in my classes and if people can't purchase them, then why would I want to demonstrate projects using something they can't get because they can't recreate it? So for me, only because of those in-person classes I have, it just doesn't make sense. So what do we think? Cattails or no cattails? All right, so you like the whiskers, Sala? Right, they like to use their old stuff, but when I have a class, they're not bringing their old stuff. If it's on a YouTube like this, oh yeah, it's fine. So I think I want to add just a little color, a little more color. I'm going to add light color to that because it's just too in your face to me. So the cattail's up higher, you think? So I think what I'm going to have to do is, because I want the stems kind of hidden. I don't want them just hanging in midair, right? And the pumpkin has to sit about here because I want the pumpkin to cover up. Of course, because I was thinking I needed the pumpkin on the edge of the frame, but I could have the pumpkin in a little bit further. What do you think of that? Does that work? I kind of like that. How would the pumpkins look on the left side? Oh, that might be good too, because then it kind of just feeds over to there. But then where do we put the whiskers? Because the whiskers almost have to go with this. They look good there though, don't they? I like that. Yeah, I like that. Mama Juju, you agree. All right, so let's put a little bit of stamp and seal on here. And we're going to line up our little cattails here, our little whiskers. So if this is over here, I want that one there. And that one kind of there. All right, and I'm going to put a little bit of tear and tape on there because I want those to stay secure. Don't want them falling off. All right. And then I like that. I like that with the whiskers. That's good. And moving it to the left-hand side was a good call because now this is kind of like aiming to the right-hand side of the card now that it opens properly. All right, so let's do some tear and tape, I think, on here. Me, ambidextrous, except for writing. I can do probably enough things with both hands. But part of that I think is because I had so many years in an office. So I did like the numeric keyboard and the regular keyboard. And because I'm left-handed and so many things are made for right-handed, you have to do things right-handed sometimes. So, all right, so we're going to go ahead. I can do that there. So I think we'll do just the very bottom of the pumpkin here. And I think the bottom, the tips of the corn, maybe glue will work there. And then I'm going to put a couple of dimensionals here because that'll help hold up the pumpkins. Both my parents were right-handed. My brother and I were left-handed. I have one of each. My son is left-handed, and my daughter is right-handed. Oh, yeah, do I want that there? So I can put it here. And maybe a little bit on the corn. We'll see how that works. Yeah, a little both-handed maybe. I don't know why they call us southpaws. Makes me think of the North Face company, and then when somebody was doing the South Butt company, which I thought was hilarious. And then they couldn't do it anymore because North Face didn't like it. I thought it was funny. All right, so I think I have all of those. Now this one little piece of tear and tape there, I left because my other one I put on top of there, so. Oh, a new cowboy journal, huh? That's funny because Stampin' Up! Is having their basically like their leaders retreat or whatever. I don't even know what they call it, but they've got like a cowboy theme, cowboy hat, cowboy boots and stuff. I'm going to put just a little dollop of glue under there because that one's going to move. I just know it. Go to slide it in an envelope and it's going to be all over. So now I just have to be careful that it doesn't move on this metallic paper because that makes for a mess. All right. Whew. If only. All right, so now we need some embellishments. Oh, so it just referred to a blow with the left hand. Interesting. Yeah, it was fun when I played softball because um, they would always assume that I would be hitting it into the right field because as a left-handed batter, when you swing with the bat, it normally goes that way toward first base. And when I hit the ball, it actually went toward third base. So I could usually get on base. Whew. I wouldn't normally get much further, but I could at least get on base a lot. So what do we think of these pecan pie ones? Do you think that'll work on there? Or should I find something else? I don't want to do like rhinestones. No, I cannot bat ambidextrous. My son can. He can do right or left-handed, but I can only bat left-handed. But I hit it into um, left field. Something darker than pecan pie. I could always, well, we don't have a marker for early espresso. Let me see. Oh, what about these streaked gems? Let me put these away. The streaked dots, yeah, not streaked gems. I wish there was a little one too. All right, so these big ones are kind of big for my taste, but I'm going to put a big one down here and then we'll put smaller ones up higher. Beautiful. Left-handed cricket players have a distinct advantage. Yeah, yeah. Um, maybe that's why, I don't know, tennis I never tennis I didn't really have trouble with. I played racquetball. Um, and I was pretty I'm not bragging, but I was pretty good with racquetball. I remember when I was in school, high school, and I was taking racquetball. I got to the point where the teacher would play against me or the coach or whatever. And then when I started beating the coach, they wouldn't let me take racquetball anymore. They said I had to take something else. So it's like, whoops. All right. What do we think of this one? I love it, you guys. And then for the inside, I will put a layer of this, probably framed, and then basic beige. And I'll use these frames as well. I really like that one. Nice job. Nice collaboration, everybody. And then I have just one more little card if anybody wants me to do one more. One more, or should we be done? We've been on here over an hour already. That's crazy. So these are the two we did tonight. One more, awesome. Fifi, you're awesome. So we're going to put those up there. I am really happy with both of these. Thank you, Nicole. I'm glad you're enjoying it. So, Cajun Craze. It's my color, probably because I am a graying redhead or a going white redhead. My grandmother was a redhead too, and she turned white. So I have mine is just looking like it's more blonde, which is surprising because I don't know, at my age, a lot of people I know are gray all the way. So part of why I think I have retained my hair color pretty well is that when I had my cancer with my chemotherapy, I was mid 30s and all my hair fell out, obviously from the chemotherapy drugs. So when it grew in, I'm thinking, I've got, the hair of somebody who's like, what, 25, 27-ish. So maybe that's why I'm going to be late getting my gray hair or white hair. But anyway, your silver, yeah, a little bit. Ah, yes, earthy colors do complement our redheads. I need vibrant colors. I cannot wear things that are light pastels. I need to have brighter colors because I'm very fair skinned. I'm Swedish um, by heredity. Um, I had a teacher in middle school that was 33 and he was entirely gray. My mom had kind of um, darker hair and she just had a couple of gray streaks in the front. And a little bit kind of like salt and pepper-ish. And my dad has less gray hair than my husband, and my dad is in his mid 80s. So yeah, my husband has pretty much all gray hair compared to my dad. All right, so here is what I pulled out to use for this. Now, this is from that same pack of designer series paper. So let's see what that's called again. The Timeless Plaid, which is now an online exclusive. So disregard where it says mini here. But I pulled another piece out of there. So I liked the tighter check on there. Excuse me. I'm really thirsty. Too much talking, Lori. So I'm going to emboss this. So from here, I'm going to emboss this in the sunflower embossing folder. Now I apologize. This sunflower embossing folder is currently not available. But it's due back. I didn't look up to see what date it's due back, but it'll be back. So let's just emboss this and see how it looks. Oh, and remember a few nights ago when I was fussy cutting ornaments and I lost one? I found it today. Yeah, it was on a shelf under my crafting table. It had flittered down and it was on a shelf that I didn't realize. All right, so I just need my base plate, my embossing folder, and the paper I want in there. And I think I'm going to go right to there. I like that flower. And I guess it doesn't really matter if it's straight or not because it's a random design. Yeah, if I don't want you guys to get bored, you know. So let's just run this through. And I figure I have to keep talking because I can't hear any of you, right? All right, so let's see how this looks. Look at that. Isn't it gorgeous? I did a whole bunch of different embossing techniques with this folder. I had like a dozen of them, but I did not do it with any metallic paper. So this is the first time I've done the metallic paper, and I love it. That is gorgeous. Oops. Let's get this out of the way. So I don't know that I need to emboss anymore. I think this is just going to be, oh, I thought that was a scuff in the paper. Oh yeah, you could, yeah, because it's got the white also. I may have to do that on another one. I'll play with that on another one. All right, so this embossing folder is just incredible. It's beautiful. In fact, let me grab, where did I put those? Oh, I thought I had them right here. I must have packed them away for the meeting. I had a whole bunch of samples, like I said. I had like a dozen different techniques that I used, and I demonstrated them at, we had a Great Lakes demonstrator event. So I was asked to present. So All right, Sala. Oh, you're cutting it close. You've only got 30 minutes left. Thank you for popping in. I definitely enjoy having you here. Glad you could make it for even part of it. All right, so this I'm gonna trim down, I think, to 3 3/4 by 5 because I want to show more of that border. All right, so this one was pretty tight to the edges. I wanted to show just a little bit more. And then we can put this on here. See how simple this card is going to be? And then if you look at the Cajun Craze color coach, it has Old Olive, Highland Heather, and Cajun Craze, which I thought would have been fun as a combination with this one because I was going to pull in some Old Olive and I thought I had a base, an Old Olive base in here. Let me just grab this piece of cardstock. So who would have really thought that these colors could work? But they look kind of cool actually. All right, so that's from the color coach, but it just didn't work for this one because I decided to do a little more monochromatic. So that's the only reason why I had this sitting here. But we're not going to end up using that. And we won't use this one. So now do I need to, should we mat this focal piece? Yeah. Let me pull out those dies again. And let's just do a couple of mats and see what we like. Because then we'll have to do a sentiment also. And I think we'll do that probably on Very Vanilla. And I wanted to do Wishing You a Day Filled with Many Happy Moments. I thought that would be nice. And I have not used any of the sentiments from this yet. Go Juju, go Juju. All right, so we are going to do this. I think we'll see what it looks like in Cajun Craze. And I'm going to put a little Versamark on this first, just because black would probably be really good, huh? That would make it stand out. I think I'll do one in early espresso and black, and we can see what we like. So I'm just going to put a little Versamark on this photopolymer stamp and let it sit there, just because the Cajun Craze is kind of a red tinted ink. I'm going to close this for just a second. It's a red tinted ink and it will stain my stamp. I'm not really worried about that. But I do find that sometimes having the Versamark on there just gives me a better image when I stamp. So that's what we're going to do. And then I was thinking that this would look kind of pretty on here too, but I might color it. So let me go get a piece of early espresso and a piece of black. And we'll see how those look. That's too small. Of course, I never have a layer size ready when I need it. So we'll just have to make one for the early espresso. And I have some for black. All right. Let me just cut these down. And we'll see what we like best. All right, that might not be dark enough. It might have to be the black. That is really dark though. Well, let's get the dye and see. So if we did it with this one, then we're going to do it with this. All right, so let's get out Bossy Betty again. I know that if they're stained, it does help us to find them. That is for sure. All right, so this is another die that I'm not going to run through with the straight edge through here. I've mentioned it before. Even though it doesn't have a corner, I'm going to lead through with what would be the corner rather than the straight edge because it makes it easier for the machine to adjust the roller. Juju, you're funny. All right, so there's one. I would think that you would be like that inappropriate friend everybody has. You know, not necessarily have a filter. And that's not a bad thing. All right, so there's that. Now, let's just for kicks do one in Highland Heather. Why not? Because we could always change that plaid too if we can't get something to really work with the plaid. All right. One time I had lost something. I'm sure it was probably a stamp, and it was on the bottom of my trimmer. So whether it had been stained or not would not have helped me because it was on the bottom of my trimmer. So now I'm kind of in the habit of whenever I put my tools away, I always kind of either rub at the bottom of them or look at the bottom. Oh, they apologize ahead of time, huh? That's funny. Okay, come on. I had those little pine boughs in there and they're just being difficult. All right, so let's just start taking a look. Oh, and let's make sure this opens the correct way, Lori. All right. That does not look right to me. That looks pretty crazy. But if we pulled out a different piece of designer series paper, it might work better. That's too blue. I don't think there's any Highland Heather in this one. There's not. But we could do like Old Olive. Yep, the Highland Heather is not working for me. All right, so let's go back to this. So let's do the black, which is stunning against that metallic paper. So we could do that. Or the early espresso, which is what I am leaning toward, just because it's a little more subtle with the other colors in here. This is pretty much in your face. With the black under the DSP too. Oh, that would probably help, wouldn't it? All right, so if we do 4 1/8, 5 3/8, because that would draw it all together then. That makes a big difference. Oh, I could make that littler. That makes a big difference, but that's a lot of dark. Please. The black does make it pop. Let me, where'd my other early espresso here go? I feel like my stomach's going to start growling soon. All right, so there's the early espresso. All right, let's do another piece of designer series paper. And I need another Cajun Craze card base that I just put away. So I think it's going to be 2 cards here because I like them both. Oh, but now the Cajun Craze doesn't work with this color. I think I want, because that Cajun Craze just doesn't flow. We're going to use, oh, Pebbled Path would have been, Pebbled Path would have been perfect for this one, but that's a retired color. Misty Moonlight might work. I'm going to go grab a couple of pieces of cardstock here. So let's see. All right. Surprise. That might work. And we'll try basic beige. All right. So here is basic beige. I'm liking it with the black. All right, so that's basic beige. Nice. Here is, ooh, I think that might be smoky slate. Ooh, that's nice. So I could do, yeah, we'll do another piece of foil, the metallic, because it comes in bright copper, gold, and tungsten. So we're going to do tungsten. I figured I was going to have to do another one anyway. So we're just going to do a 4-inch strip here, I guess. And then we'll cut this down. I try not to run the metallics through any larger tungsten. Yes, it's like a gunmetal gray sort of. My ring is tungsten. It's a very strong, they can't even use a ring cutter to cut it off because it's that, you just can't get fat fingers because you won't get it off. It's a very strong metal. So like this ring, I don't think they could size it either. We had to get it in the right size because of how hard the metal is. I think. I could be wrong. I need the embossing folder again. Oh, I would need to, I should die cut this first, so that I know what direction it's going. And get the right label die here. Oops, I need cutting plates. Whoops. I have too much going on this crafting table right now. Things are starting to fly. So what does it tell you for tungsten? Am I right? Is it like super hard? So we're done with this again. I have to write things down. If they don't look right, then I just keep writing them until they look right. That's my how my mother and I used to do spell check. Oh, that doesn't look right. No, this looks right. All right, so we need this. All right, so now do we want a different flower this time, or the same one? I use this one up here for the first one. Maybe here, because then I'll get a little bit of this one too. Hard gray white metal, known for having the highest melting point of all elements. Ideal filaments in light bulbs and heating elements. It's very strong metal. You're right. It's not just crafting fun. We learn things. All right. I am trying to put things away as I go so that I won't have an avalanche here. But then I end up needing them again. But you guys are the ones that asked for another card, and now it turned into 2 cards, so it's your own fault. I don't hear any of you complaining, though. All right, so here we've got the gray. Let me look and see for sure what gray this is if you're interested. It's gray granite. Smoky slate would probably have worked as well, but I pulled the darker one because that was closer to the petal path. Yes, I'm going to try to sand this one. That's why I thought, let's just cut 2. And I'm going to cut this black border down a little bit because that's too big. I'm just going to cut 1/8 at first, and we'll see how that looks. And then we've got designer series paper. And then we'll have these. And that does look pretty cool. Good idea, Fifi. I still haven't found my real sanding blocks. I'm just using sanding paper. That does look nice. I like that. And I decided not to go in circles because it looks better with just the lines. So let's do this one because we know that it's working okay here. I think it shows up better on the tungsten than on the copper here. That looks pretty good though too. Now I could run that plaid through the plaid embossing folder too, but it might be too much. Yeah, I like it sanded too. That's very pretty. With some of those samples that I was talking about, I had embossed it on the 2-tone cardstock and sanded a couple of them, and they looked really cool. All right. So what do we think of these color combos? We good with those? I like the Cajun Craze with the copper and the early espresso better. I'm going to trim this down a little bit. It looks just a little too big. Hopefully I didn't make it too small now. Nice. All right. And then when I do the sentiment, I'm going to go ahead and glue those down just because they're ready to be glued down. So, should I emboss the designer series paper? Oh, you just said yes. Okay. Now, I could do it with the plaid, or I could do it with the sunflower. So try it on this one, the plaid or the sunflower. I think I want to try the sunflower and see what it looks like. Maybe I should, here. I'm just going to set up my embossing machine over here so that I don't have to keep disrupting the table here. I have a cart that I have a trimmer on so that I can travel around my room. Plus I have a trimmer at my crafting table. Plus I have trimmers at the crafting table for when I have classes. So let's just do this and see how it looks. Sample piece. I can always use this as a leftover for something else. That looks really fun. What do you think? Let me find another piece and we'll do it with the plaid and we'll see which one we like better. I have to see if I have another piece of that though. I have it in other colors. Here we go. Yep. All right, let me get the plaid one. Everywhere, trimmer, trimmer here, trimmer there, trimmer. Old Macari had a farm with chickens and trimmers galore. And we get music in addition to our education. You guys are fun. Oh, I don't like the plaid as well. And I don't know if you can see that. It is like there's a lot going on there. You can see that there. There is a lot going on there. This. Hello, Tanya. Welcome. I think we're going to do the sunflower. I'm making an executive decision. We're doing the sunflower. You kind of like the plaid. Well, Fifi, maybe you can recreate this card. The plaid is just, the paper is broken some too. I suppose if I would have spritzed it maybe. Let's just see. I'll do the full size of the sunflower. The sunflower just looks really cool. I really like the sunflower better than the plaid. You like the plaid too? I'm getting overruled. Well, it might mean a third card on another day. Because I could even do something like this with just stripes. You know, strips of. I don't know, the sunflower is pretty cool, but that broke too. I'll have to spritz it. I'll have to do it again. All right, let me cut this down. What did I cut this one to? 3 3/4 by 5. Three and 3/4 by 5. All right, I guess the plaid's not so bad. So do I need to distress the edges? I'm going to use this for something else though, because I really like that. I'm going to use that for something else. I like those. All right. So we'll go ahead and do this. I think, I don't know if I want that up on dimensionals or not. So now we're going to have to figure out what to do with the the gray granite card. If you want me to run that through the embossing folder too. Oops, let's scooch that up a little bit. There's a little bit of white on here on the edge. I'm going to have to trim off a little bit here. Keep the other one clean. Phew. Kind of relieved to hear you say that. Although I think the sunflower would look really cool. All right, we'll make sure this is opening. Sleep is overrated. Just ask my husband. I usually get about 5.5 hours of sleep, and I feel pretty good until we go driving anywhere, and then I take a nap in the car. All right, so I think I want that on dimensionals, don't you think? Dimensionals, no dimensionals. That is the question. Now we're doing a little literature, right? Was that Shakespeare? The style of Shakespeare, not necessarily Shakespeare. To be or not to be? Yes to dimensionals. Yeah, this was going to be one last card and it turned into 2 cards because we couldn't agree on the color combo. So to make everybody happy, it turned into twins, fraternal. Now we're doing science. And it's too late to emboss that little buddy now, because it's on here. All right, dimensionals. I'm going to get the black ones. And I only have minis. So I think we're going to trim some edges, because those are a little bigger. Here's where we need that like Jeopardy music again. Because I'm concentrating. I'm trying to get this done so we can see how it looks. Smarter than a 5th grader. Some of those questions on that show are really difficult. I used to watch that. I would rather watch shows where I actually know the answers. Oh, and I like it to the left. If you guys want it in the center, you'll have to recreate this. because Lori's putting it to the left. Left-handed Lori is putting it to the left. Yeah, no kidding. Those kids were really smart. But they must train to be on that show too, I would think. Kind of like, they train for their spelling bees and stuff. They probably train to be on that show. All right. I love these, you guys. All right, so now the last part is that sentiment. And I think, let me put this embossing folder away. One down. The sunflower one, put that away. All right. And then, get that out of the way too. So this will be good for this one maybe. Or I should probably get maybe gray granite and put black for the sentiment on that one. And then this one, white is too bright. Although we could do the sentiment on here. I think that'll work. Smoky slate for this one. Yeah, I think so. A little lighter gray. Black with a black border. Yeah, absolutely. It's going to have a border on it. Yeah, we'll do black on here and just see how it looks. That looks pretty good. But try petal pink for the grading? Seriously? Petal pink is really light. It would go with it, but it's very light. There. I got a little heavy on the ink on the end of here. So we'll do this one. So on the Cajun Craze one, yes, because it won't work on there. Because here I could just put this right on here as a sentiment. I'll go get the petal pink though. We'll take a look. We'll take a look. Yeah, petal pink is on the color coach. I think Cajun Craze is too dark for the grading. You think so? With the black on there? All right, let's go. Let me go get Smoky Slate for this one. And I'll grab the petal pink. Good thing I've got all the colors. All right, Smoky Slate. Yeah, so I could use that if we'll see what the I'm thinking petal pink ink on here, but if I get petal pink cardstock and use the black ink bordered with that, that would work well, right? It's getting late. There's been a lot of education here tonight. I'm going to stamp that over too because that got a lot of ink there on the many happy moments. Tap, 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 tap. Yeah, I have early espresso out here. I will go grab a piece of petal pink cardstock. That should work. All right. So here's this one. I don't even know that I need it bordered in black, but we'll try it. I happen to have a scrap of black here. We'll trim it down. Hopefully nobody's heard my stomach growling because there's going to be a snack in my future. All right, so there's that one. The black border does make it look nicer over here. So let's go get some petal pink. And some early espresso. Actually, my brain doesn't hurt right now, which is kind of nice. It usually hurts when I get up because my neck is always sore. And it takes a while for that to stop. All right, let's see how that looks. So Fifi, were you looking at the color coach? Or did you just know petal pink? I'm impressed. And look at that. I don't even have to cut another one. I think that looks really nice. Good choice. Very good choice. Because the lighter color in there is probably either the light Cajun Craze or petal pink. It's probably petal pink. She is that good. All right. So stamp set. Let's put this away. Oh, and look at this. It didn't even stain. You can barely tell that I had ink on there because I primed it with the Versamark. Sometimes it doesn't work, but you know, you can hardly tell that there's any discoloration there. So you want to see how early espresso looks on there? We can do that. Looks like Neapolitan ice cream. It's a shame I don't have any. Oops. That moved. Alrighty. I actually think I like the Cajun Craze better. Yeah, I put the color coaches, I print them on full size Avery adhesive sheets just from the office supply store. I reduce it and just cut them out and stick them to my ink pads. You can probably see, I don't know if you can see the shadow from the prior coach because they'll change every year. All right, I'll have to think on this one because I think the early espresso makes it kind of darker around the edges there. And part of that early espresso gets lost, just like the black gets lost here. It shows up over here, but over here it gets lost. And the early espresso is getting lost there too. Yeah, I have the color wheel color coach too. And Juju's getting one. It's going to be a tough call. Maybe I should just do both. Then I don't have to decide. I can cut a bigger piece of early espresso. Oh, and that's what you just said. I wasn't even reading that, but yeah, I think I'm gonna, because then I won't have to decide. I'm just gonna do both. And let's see, I'll have to get another piece of early espresso because I don't think I have another scrap right here. There's a lot going on this crafting table, let me tell you. That's a good thing though. Yep, I'm gonna have to go get an early espresso. Yeah, it does match the frames and the card base. But if I had to pick one, it'd be the Cajun Craze. So we'll compromise and we'll do both. I'm just looking for a scrap that's pretty close in size to what we need. Well, it's kind of like we're a team here, you know? It's a team effort. Sometimes you can have consensus, sometimes you can't. But it's all good. I can always make more. Yeah, I think the double mat will be good. That'll work. I don't know if you can hear my stomach growling, but it's really getting loud. You don't know if you don't try, right? And then we'll put a dimensional on this side here. Yeah, just one. And we'll put glue. No need. It's all good. And I want it in so I can still see that border. And I have it centered on the plaid. All right, so let's go with this one now. Touche, Mama Juju. That's funny. So if anybody wants that sunflower embossing folder, even though it's not currently available, if you go to my store and you pull up the sunflower embossing folder, there is an option for you to be notified when it's back in stock. And you will get an email when it is back in stock, and then you can go order it right away. That is a relatively new feature that Stampin' Up! Added, and I love it. I have taken advantage of that. Because sometimes stuff will come back in stock and it's been so popular that it sells out right away. And then you miss it. All right, these turned out really good. Yeah, it is a really good feature. And then you can also mark things as your favorite to create like a shopping list. So if there's stuff that's like, oh, I like that one, I don't want to get it this time, maybe next time, you click on that heart and it'll give you the option of creating a custom list. All right, so here's what we did tonight. You guys were slave drivers. Wow. But it was fun. And I didn't end up using this. I had thought that I might put some ribbon like behind these banner pieces, and I totally forgot. So we could do something like that. It's almost like a moot point now. Because that one would have to get trimmed. I could probably make it work, but I think it's probably just as well without it at this point. It won't work on this one, but it could have worked on this one. And this one didn't really need anything. So, phew. Yeah, the trim does add a little something to it. So what I'll probably do is just put a glue dot on there and press it up under this side. I think there's maybe enough space I could make like a burrito glue dot. It just adds to the rustic look of the card, I think. Just trying to roll this up here a little bit. Let's kind of try to tuck this in here. Thank you, Fifi. Thanks, Mama Juju. Thanks for all your input, everybody. It makes it fun. Because otherwise I probably would have just stopped at 2 cards and been done with it and called it a night. Gotten some extra sleep. No worries. There. Very fun. There we go. I like that. Yeah, well, we did 6 cards last night because we did well, of course, I didn't finish all of these. I finished them today during the day. Um, so we did 6 cards yesterday and we got 5 here today. But these were, I thought this one went really fast. This was probably the fastest one of the night or morning, as the case may be, since it's 2 a.m. here. My husband, when he finds out I was up till 2 a.m. on here, he'll say, "Woman, you're crazy." Yes, I have been making a lot of cards lately, but that's a good thing because then I use my stuff. And if it shares ideas with other people and then we all get crafting more and then we all mail out more cards, we're spreading happiness, right? All right. I am going to clean up a little bit of my stuff here. And it looks like my screen got elongated. Was it that way the whole time? It didn't seem like it before. Because on my camera, it looks fine. Oh, well. Know that they're the normal size. They look longer, but they're the normal size. Something's distorted. I didn't notice it before. So maybe I don't know, maybe my battery is getting low or something. Move it back and forth like this, the cards or the camera. Ooh. Isn't that pretty? Man, I just saw the reflection in there. Well, I'm glad you guys enjoyed this. This was fun. A lot of collaboration. I like that. Sharing the ideas and trying things out. It's fun. Oh, move the camera back and forth. Well, it's my phone in my, I could go like this. But it looks perfect in my camera. It's just distorted on my screen. Is anybody getting dizzy yet? So you think we need some embellishments on these last two? You don't think the foiling is enough? You were right a couple of times. I wasn't keeping score, but yeah, we all have a good eye. It's just um, what trips your trigger, you know? Some black ones on this one. I have black. The problem with bling on this one is if I use any kind of rhinestones, it's not going to match the foil because we don't have bling that is this copper colored. The streak dots would probably work because they're not like rhinestones. Those would definitely work. We'll use those. And we'll just use a couple of these. Do 3 in a row. For this one or for this one? Because here I figured I could go like this and then put another one down here. And then here, oh, I don't do two. I do odd numbers. Otherwise, I don't know what it is. It just doesn't look balanced. So you think 3 in a row on this one though? 1, 2, let go. Oh, that one left the glue dot behind, that's why. I usually use my take your pick tool. See, that doesn't work for me. There's something in my OCD-ness that requires odd numbers. I'm going to put the third one on and you just squint until you only see two. There. All right. It looked okay with two, but I like it with three. So we're getting three. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That triangular effect helps draw your eye to the card somehow. There's some psychology in it. I didn't take that lesson. All right, so we're done. I am going to post these on my Facebook page at some point. And I don't know if you can see these very well because they are distorted. These two seem like they're okay, but these others seem like they're a little long. Well, thank you for stopping in and crafting with me. I appreciate it. I appreciate all of the ideas. I think it works better when we all put our heads together. And I think I'll clean up the rest of my mess tomorrow, but I'll probably, or later today, because it's a little after 2 a.m. I'll try to post these pictures tomorrow or later today, rather. If you have some other pictures of things that you've done that are similar, maybe in technique or style, feel free to add a comment once I get these posted. And I'd love to see what you're making too. This one is pretty striking. This would be really good for a guy, very masculine. This could go either way. Excuse me. But that's a nice, very neutral card. It doesn't have to be fall-ish, but with the sunflower it is. And with that, I am going to, I'm going to call it a night. So thank you, everyone, for joining me. I love the collaboration. So until next time, happy crafting.